Chapter 3861. Fourth is here. Escape. The ancient night devil does not hesitate. I saw that his body shape suddenly changed from one to hundreds, and this figure fled from all directions. Although the mist formed by Jian Wushuang's hazy sword technique enveloped the past for the first time, it only covered part of the body. The covered figures were all annihilated by Jian Guang, but it is clear that the deity of the ancient night demon is not among these figures. Wow! The shape of the sky suddenly dissipated, and the figure of the ancient night demon monarch had appeared in the void far away from the sword unparalleled. Obviously the strength is damaged, but there is still such a powerful life-saving technique that can be cast from the eternal dark prison. Even if it is seriously injured, I can't kill him. Sword Wushuang retracted the two-handle rule arcane, also stopped the burning of divine power in the body. The ancient night demon king at this moment stared at Jian Wushuang with a solemn look. As for those strong men who watched the ancient night magic palace, they were silent. The battle in front of them was in their eyes from start to finish, and of course they saw it at the end. Ancient Night Demon King showed his strongest hole card, but he failed to break even the sword unparalleled body sword skill. The last sword of Jian Wushuang, but the scared ancient night demon monarch fled, and did not dare to compete with it. Obviously in this battle the sword is unparalleled. On strength, Jian Wushuang is still above this ancient night demon king. From today on, the strongest in this star field is estimated to be replaced by the Lord of the Blood Sword. The Emperor sighed inwardly. I even ran to the Star Palace to let go of the word, and even the Lord of the Blood Sword was actually attracted by me. The ruler of that monarch was terrified. Previously the ancient night demon king supported him. He didn't care about Xingong at all. Even if he knew that Jian Wushuang was stronger than him, he didn't care. But now he knew that the strength of the Lord of the Blood Swords was even more terrible than the demon behind him, which made him truly frightened. He can imagine that if Jian Wushuang is going to kill him, the ancient night devil may not stop it, and even if it is to stop it, it is probably impossible to stop it. Master of the Blood Sword, you won this battle. The ancient night demon king finally spoke. He didn't say much, nor did he justify himself. Losing is losing. He spent so many years in the eternal dark prison. I do know how much there is. If he did even have the courage to admit defeat, he would have been killed for a long time. Ancient Night Demon King, you are really strong, especially the last finger almost defeated my strongest body protection means I can beat you, but also fortunate plus the assistance of the treasure. Jian Wushuangdo. Treasure is also a kind of strength. The ancient night demon Jun smiled. The Lord of the Blood Sword, here is at the gate of my ancient night demon palace. Why not go with me to the demon palace? Let me talk about it in detail. How about it? Let's talk about it in detail? Jian Wushuang looked and then nodded with a smile. Since the ancient night demon king invited me, then I'm welcome. Please ask the demon to lead the way. Haha, come with me. The laughter of the ancient night devil is extremely happy. Just now, Gu Yejuan is still thinking about playing his strongest hole card to kill sword warriors, but now he blinks and invites sword warriors to enter the magic palace to discuss in detail, and sword warriors also directly agreed. This is also normal. After all, Jian Wushuang had no major resentment against this ancient night demon prince, and before the rule of the king and the prince went to the Star Palace, there was some friction. But this friction is not really hatred. The ancient night demon king wanted to kill Jian Wushuang because Jian Wushuang was pregnant with treasure. He longed for it, but since he couldn't kill him, he naturally didn't want to be at odds with Jian Wushuang. After all, Jian Wushuang's strength now eclipsed him. The most terrible thing about Wushuang is his potential. The master level of the rule is so strong. Who knows how strong he will be when he breaks through and become the master. As for Jian Wushuang, he can't kill the ancient night demon, but he also needs to know some things in the eternal dark prison from the ancient night demon, and of course he won't choose to be evil with the ancient night demon. Both knew that the other was strong and could not be the enemy. In the magnificent magic palace, the ancient night devil did not choose to sit on the towering throne above, but sat in front of the case with the sword without a double face, which is also a respect for the strength of the sword without a sword, and put the sword without a sword completely on an equal footing with yourself. On the case there is fine wine. The Lord of the Blood Sword, this is the wine I collected from the treasure house of the Beihai Palace after I overthrew the Beihai Palace. This wine is of great help to the practitioners who dominate the following. The most important thing is that it tastes good. Do you want to taste it? Taste? Said the ancient night demon king. Jian Wushuang glanced at the fine wine but shook his head. No, I don't want to hide it. I came here this time to find you, the ancient night demon king. Oh. The ancient night devil frowned. You came for the Star Palace thing? This is one of them. Jian Wushuang nodded. This is something I have done too much in, and I will give you the Lord of the Blood Sword. The ancient knight demon voiced solemnly, followed his eyes and glanced to the side. Magic Monarch. The monarch dominated and immediately fell to his knees. The Lord of the Blood Sword, this matter arises because of this monarch. He saw the special treasure of the Star Palace, the Triple Path, so he asked for it in the name of my ancient knight Magic Palace. After the Lord of the Star Palace defeated, I told the treasure to me when I came back and told me that I was bitter. I am the Lord of the ancient knight Magic Palace. In order to maintain the face, I was told that the Lord of the Palace would send the treasure to him. Come up. Ancient Knight Demon King said. I can understand. Jian Wushuang nodded. He could see that the ancient Knight Devil did not lie, and there was no need to lie. In this case of the ancient Knight Demon Palace and the Xing Palace, the monarch and the king dominated a large part. Now Junyi is here. What do you do with the Lord of the Blood Sword? Novel. It doesn't matter if you kill him directly. The ancient Knight Demon took a drink from the case. Feel free to say. He said easily, but the monarch who was kneeling beside him was terrified. Devil, forgive me, forgive me. The ruler of the monarch kept asking for mercy, but the ancient Knight Demon Prince did not look at him. To the ancient Knight Demon Monarch, this monarch is the master of the First Order. As far as the master of the First Order is concerned, such a master is a lot in the universe, he doesn't care. However, Jian Wushuang is different. This is an incredible super genius with unlimited potential in the future. What he has to do now is to pull as much as possible with Jian Wushuang, but he will not fight against Jian Wushuang for the sake of a prince. Chapter 3862? Fifth more. Kill it? Jian Wushuangro watched with interest, kneeling beside him, the monarch who was begging for mercy. This monarch dominates the mighty masters, and he is definitely a top-level existence in this star field. Once there was no sword double-sided to such an existence, he had to look up, but now he is kneeling in front of himself. Can decide its life and death. It's nothing, I'm too lazy to kill you, but you have to go to my star house. As for what to do, you should consider it yourself. Jian Wushuang rode. He said to Terra now that killing a high master has no sense of accomplishment. Thank you very much for the Lord of the Blood Sword, spare your life. The ancient Knight Demon Lord said coldly. Thank you for the Lord of the Blood Sword, thank you for the Lord of the Blood Sword. The monarch ruler was relieved. I immediately set off and went to the Star Palace to pay for my sins. Jian Wushuang just waved his hands arbitrarily, followed by looking at the ancient Knight Demon solemnly. Ancient Knight Demon, when I come this time, there is actually another more important thing. Jian Wushuang lowered his voice, and the ancient Knight Demon became aware, and immediately commanded, you all go down. Yes. The empty host and others who escorted aside immediately bowed and left. In the entire Great Hall, there are only Jian Wushuang and the ancient Knight Demon King. The latter also directly imposed a heavy prohibition to prevent someone from hearing the dialogue between the two. Master of the Blood Sword, you can speak now. The ancient Knight Demon Lord looked over. The ancient Knight Devil, I didn't meander, I just said, I'm very interested in that eternal dark prison. Jian Wushuangdo. You really know the eternal dark prison? The ancient Knight Demon looked solemnly at Jian Wushuang. In the previous battle with Jian Wushuang praised him for being out of that place. At that time, the ancient Knight Magic King guessed whether Jian Wushuang knew his origin. Now it seems that Jian Wushuang did know. The Lord of the Blood Sword, I can ask, how do you know the eternal dark prison, and how do you know that I escaped from the eternal dark prison? The ancient Knight Demon asked. This is very simple. Jian Wushuang smiled slightly and then turned over and took out something. Guillermo Jun, you should know this thing in my hand? What Jian Wushuang took out was a token. This is a disciple's token of Hongyun's veins, and it is also a token of the disciples of the inner door. Guillermo Jun was completely shocked. He was in the vein of Hongyun when he broke through the kingdom of God and committed a great crime, and was detained by Hongyun in an eternal dark prison. After that, he stayed in the vein of Hongyun. He didn't know how many years. He knew the vein of Hongyun naturally, and knew the power of the vein of Hongyun. Like the division behind him, in fact, it was not a weak side. There are several supreme people sitting in the town, but his teacher did not dare to offend Hongyun, knowing that he was being held in the eternal dark prison, and pretended not to see it. I can imagine that the Red Cloud is strong. However, the people of the Red Cloud have not appeared in the eternal dark prison for a long time. For these dozens or even hundreds of chaotic times, no new prisoners have been held in the eternal dark prison. Therefore, the eternal dark prison has been circulating. It is said that the pulse of Hongyun has been completely destroyed. And after escaping from the eternal dark prison, this ancient night demon is affirming the fact that the vein of Hongyun has been destroyed, for which he is extremely happy. But whoever thought of this blink of an eye, he met the disciple of Hongyun. No, you are just the master of the rules, and it looks like you haven't cultivated for a long time, and Hongyun's pulse has long been destroyed. I don't know how many years, you must not be a disciple of Hongyun's pulse in the peak period. If I guess you should have been in the Hongyunimai divine kingdom site for a while, and you got the opportunity left by Hongyunimai before you became a disciple of Hongyunimai? Asked the ancient night demon. Yes, I have indeed been a disciple of Hongyunimai for a long time, so you do indeed have to worry. I will indeed hate you because of Hongyunimai, and I will detain you again in the eternal dark prison, not to mention this. No idea, no ability. Jian Wushuang smiled. Well, since you have just become a disciple of Hongyun, that is not my enemy. The ancient night demon nodded secretly. He was imprisoned in the eternal dark prison for so long tortured by Yin Yun, and after suffering torture he managed to escape by now. If he does not resent Hongyun's pulse in his heart, it must be impossible, but Hongyun's pulse it is overthrown. The red cloud strong man who had detained him in the eternal dark prison originally is estimated to have died long ago, and naturally he will not be implicated in Jian Wushuang. After all, Jian Wushuang only got a chance in the near future, and then he worshipped under the gate of Hongyun. I am a disciple in the heart of Hongyun. Naturally, I know the existence of Eternal Dark Prison, and I also know that you escaped from the first floor of Eternal Dark Prison not long ago. As for my coming to you this time, mainly I want to ask you something about the Eternal Dark Prison. Jian Wushuangdo. You ask about things in Eternal Dark Prison, do you want to go in? The ancient night devil frowned. I have this idea. Jian Wushuang smiled. There are countless strong men in the Eternal Dark Prison, even the first level, there are countless tops of the second series, and even the strongest of the third series, so place of course I want to go in and go through it. You have the tokens of the disciples in the heart of Hongyun. You can mobilize the power of the magic circle in the Eternal Dark Prison. It is an invincible existence at all. This experience you will not be in danger. That's it, but I still want to get some information about you from the Eternal Dark Prison. In addition, although I know that the Eternal Dark Prison is hidden in the depths of Red Rock Mountain, I don't know the exact location of the entrance. You have to guide me for the ancient night devil. Jian Wushuangdo intelligence is simple. I can tell you everything I know. As for the way, it is not impossible. But I have one condition. The ancient night devil is right. Conditions. Jian Wushuang's expression moved. Tell me. I have an enemy in the first floor of the Eternal Dark Prison. It is an outrageous lunatic. I fell into his hands and was tortured by him for billions of years. It is better to die than to live. This hatred I have never forgotten, but his strength is far superior to me. Before in the Eternal Dark Prison, I had no way to take him at all. Even if he came out of the Eternal Dark Prison one day, I am not his opponent. So, I want you to take a shot and help me revenge. The ancient night demon gnashed his teeth and said lowly. End of this chapter. Chapter 3863. 6 more arrived today. Revenge. Jian Wushuang glanced at Guyi Emojun in shock. He could see that the ancient night demon monk absolutely hated the enemy, or when he said this he wouldn't grit his teeth like this. And he could also hear that the reason why the ancient night demon hated each other was not because the other party had killed some of his close relatives, but because the ancient night demon had been captured by the other party in the Eternal Dark Prison. Passed and fell into the hands of the other for a billion years. In those billion years, the ancient night devil must have suffered the inhuman torture of the other party. However, since the opponent is powerful enough to capture this ancient night devil, how did the ancient night devil escape from the other hand? Jian Wushuang wondered but didn't ask much. Ancient demon lord, who is your enemy? Jian Wushuang asked. Star demon ancestor, among the many masters on the first floor of Eternal Dark Prison, stands at the top and is one of the most terrible masters. Said the ancient night demon king. On the realm, this star demon ancestor is also just the third level as the primary dominating level, but his combat power is extremely terrible, and there are many means to emerge. I am also the highest in the second level, and the life-saving means is also good. It can be met by the general third level. Escape. But in the face of this ancestor of the demon, he easily captured me. I had no resistance at all and he was tortured for billions of years. He finally got bored and let me go. Jian Wushuang frowned. He He was still wondering how this ancient night devil ran away from the ancestors of the star demon. The feelings were not escaped but released by the other party. After tormenting for 1 billion years, knowing that the ancient night demon lord hated it, the star demon ancestor still dared to let go of the night demon lord, but how confident the star demon ancestor is in his own strength. In terms of strength, the ancestor of the star devil should also be far better than the lord of the blood sword, but the lord of the blood sword is a disciple of Hong Yun. You can use the power of the eternal dark prison as long as he is standing by you. In front of you, you can easily use the power of the French array to suppress it and kill him. No matter how strong he is, there is no room for resistance in front of you. Ancient Night Demon King said. Jian Wushuang nodded his head, and then said directly, Ancient Demon Lord, I promise you, after I go to the first floor of the eternal dark prison, I will find a way to find the ancestor of the star demon and take revenge for you. Thank you. The ancient night demon's eyes lit up suddenly. Well, now you first tell me some information in the first floor of the eternal dark prison. Jian Wushuang smiled. Immediately, the ancient night demon king began to narrate carefully. It was said for 3 days and nights, and at the same time, the ancient night demon king also gave Jian Wushuang a very detailed information of the strong. On the first floor of the eternal dark prison, there are countless powerful men, and after a long period of time, most of them are known and have extremely detailed information. After that, Jian Wushuang went to Hongshe Mountain under the personal guidance of the ancient night demon. Before heading to Hongshishan, Jian Wushuang also greeted the mysterious gods first, telling them that the crisis in the Xingong had been lifted off, and that the ruler of the monarch would immediately go to the Xingtuan to pay the crime. As for the ancient night magic palace, and they will never be hostile to the star palace again, so they don't have to worry about it. In fact, even if Jian Wushuang didn't say it, it wouldn't take long for the Shen Shinto people to know a few of them. After all, outside the ancient night demon palace, the scene where Jian Wushuang and the ancient night demon battled head to face, but many people saw it, and the news of this battle is bound to spread in this star field. Jian Wushuang and the ancient night demon are fighting head-on. Under the premise that all combat power has erupted, the ancient night demon is still defeated. This news can cause a huge sensation in this star field, and Jian Wushuang is bound to will replace the ancient night demon king to become the strongest recognized in this star field. With this battle as the background, the ancient night magic palace will naturally not be the enemy of the star palace in the future. When Jian Wushuang and Shen Xin talked with them, they also told them to go to Hongshishan for a while so that they didn't have to worry because they would not be in danger. Shen Shinto people are also more at ease. Jian Wushuang also rumored to speak to his wife Leng Rushuang, and with the latter's consent, he really set foot in the Red Rock Mountains. Red Rock Mountain extremely deep. The Lord of the Blood Sword, I ran out of here from the beginning. The ancient night demon monarch led Sword Wushuang and came to the place where the bloodstone was piled up. In the center of this bloodstone pile, there was a heavy magic circle. This method is extremely esoteric. Jian Wushuang only looked at it but couldn't understand it at all. This legal array should lead to the first floor of the eternal dark prison. The reason why I was able to escape from the eternal dark prison was because I just noticed a space crack nearby, and I immediately seized the opportunity to escape. When I stepped out of this circle, I met a master of your star field, the Horned Owl. I searched the memory of this Horned Lord. He discovered this law formation 160,000 years ago, and has been studying under this law formation. Finally, it was difficult to find a flaw in this law formation, and then he barely opened a connection the gap on the first floor of Eternal Hell, but it didn't take long for it to repair itself, so I can't even go back to Eternal Hell now. The Lord of the Blood Sword, you are a disciple of the inner gate of the Red Cloud. There are tokens of the disciples of the inner gate. I do not know that I can rely on the tokens to open into the eternal dark prison, said the ancient night demon. I don't know, but you can try it. Jian Wushuang smiled slightly, even when he took out the token of the disciple inside the red cloud. As soon as the token appeared, Jian Wushuang immediately discovered that the token had a certain connection with the heavy law formation in front of him. With the movement of Jian Wushuang's thoughts, the magic formation was slowly operating. After a short time, a complete space channel slowly appeared in front of Jian Wushuang. Haha, it seems that the token of this inner disciple can indeed open the space channel into the eternal dark prison. Jian Wushuang smiled. The Lord of the Blood Sword, there are many strong men in the eternal dark prison, especially the means of many strong men are very terrible. Although you have the disciples' tokens, you must not be careless or some sudden attacks can be done without you. With the slightest awareness, You will be killed so that you will not even have the opportunity to take out the tokens to mobilize the power of the magic circle. Guillermo Jun said. I know, thank you for reminding me. Jian Wushuang nodded. In addition, the ancestor of the Star Devil. The ancient night demon continued. Rest assured, the things I promised will be done for you. Jian Wushuang smiled, even if the spin directly into the space channel. Chapter 3864. The first is more. Eternal dark prison, gray and gray, seeing no light at all. The fate of those prisoners held in the eternal dark prison has been almost destined since they were held in the eternal dark prison. Perhaps when the vein of red cloud still exists and is in its heyday, there will be 1 or 2 lucky prisoners who can be released, but since the vein of red cloud collapsed, this eternal dark prison was abandoned in the Redstone Mountain. In the eternal dark prison, these prisoners will never see the sun again. Somewhere in the void, a space passage suddenly appeared, and the shape of Jian Wushuang stepped out of this space passage. After he walked out of the space channel, that space channel also converged and dissipated. However, the token of the inner door disciple is in Jian Wu's hands. With this token, Wu Jian can still open a space passage at will and leave here. Here is the first floor of the eternal dark prison? Jian Wushuang looked up, looking around. In the eyes there is endless void in earth. The whole earth is black and blue, dead and dead, without any vitality. Standing in the void of the eternal dark prison, Jian Wushuang only felt that there were some meager rules of heaven and earth, and even the aura of heaven and earth was much thinner than the outside world. Master Wu is right. The eternal dark prison does not have a cultivation environment at all. Generally, the first level or the second level dominates. If it is held in this first level space, it will barely reach the third level. The series dominates the elementary level, fearing that they can no longer be promoted. Jian Wushuang secretly sighed. The vast universe, the closer to the center, the better the cultivation conditions. This star field, like Jian Wushuang, is located at the most marginal place of the universe. Compared with other parts of the universe, the cultivation environment should be extremely bad, but the cultivation environment of the Eternal is even more than his star field. Dozens of times or even more than 100 times worse. In such an environment, even those who have some talent to dominate, the rules of strength cannot be improved much. According to the ancient Night Demon King, he has been staying in the 9th dark area of the first level of the Dragon domain before, and the Horned Lord reluctantly opened a gap in the first layer of Eternal Dark Prison. He seized the opportunity and escaped immediately. That is to say, the place where the heavy circle is linked in the Redstone Mountain should be the 9th dark zone of the Dragon domain, which is where I am now. Jian Wushuang secretly said. From the ancient Night Demon King, he has learned some basic conditions in the first floor of this Eternal Dark Prison. The first floor of the Eternal Dark Prison is huge and immense. Its area is vast and even exceeds one side of the astral realm. There are 8 domains in this first floor. These 8 domains refer to 8 huge territories in the first layer. These 8 territories occupy 90% of the entire first layer of space, and they also have the most powerful people. As for the remaining territories and the environment, even worse, few prisoners are willing to go there. And the number of prisoners held in the Eternal Dark Prison is more than hundreds of millions. Among these billions of prisoners, after countless fighting battles, gradually they have created some top performers. On the first floor of the entire Eternal Dark Prison, there are 10 superpowers recognized at the top. These 10 people are called the 10 Kings. Among the 10 Kings, 8 each occupy a large domain and become the lords of this large domain. Even the name of this domain is named by this king. The magic dragon realm where Jian Wushuang is now is the territory occupied by that dragon lord. Although the Lord of Dragons is only worthy of merging the 6 rules to reach the threshold of 3rd level domination, the secret techniques and methods he possesses are extremely good. The understanding of the Tao, including his unique skills, is extremely terrifying. Although the realm is only the 3rd level primary master, but in terms of combat power, it is even stronger than the ordinary 3rd level higher master. Jian Wushuang's mind recalled the words of the ancient night demon. The Lord of the Dragons and the other 9 kings with the same name are extremely scary. On the first floor of this Eternal Dark Prison, there is absolutely invincible existence. Except for the competition between the 10 kings, countless others, the prisoners on the first floor, including a large number of masters who have reached the 3rd level of combat power, must be more than weak in front of the 10 kings. In the domain of the Demon Dragon, there are 108 dark areas. Each dark area has a lot of strong people. Like the 9th dark prison where I am now, according to the information obtained by the ancient Night Demon King, there are more than 10. thousands of prisoners. Although most of them are only the highest level of the second level, there are still thousands of people who reach the third level, and the strongest of them are 5, namely the Thousand Blades Lord, the 9 Penal Monarch, and Bao King, Sword Dome, Blood Rain Lord. The ancient Night Demon King has been in this 9th Dark Zone, and has been running for more than 10 times. He knew all the powerhouses in the 9th Dark Zone. Among the 5 strongest people, although there are still many gaps compared to the super strong who is ranked as the king like the Dragon Lord, compared to other prisoners they are still a lot stronger. According to the ancient demon monarch himself, with his life-saving ability in the 9th Dark Zone, he encountered any one of the thousands of third-level masters, and he was not afraid and could escape. But the 5 Blade Demon Lords, the 9 Penal Monarchs, the Blood Bao King, the Sword Dome, and the Blood Rain Demon, all took out one, but all of them were likely to kill him. The 9th Dark Zone, the 5 strongest beings, I am afraid that even if the combat power has not reached the 3rd level of the higher dominating level, I am afraid that it is infinitely close. Jianwu Shuang sighed. In terms of combat power, he can only be regarded as the equivalent of the ancient Night Demon, and it should be the highest level of the 2nd series. This is still on the premise of his use of rules and treasures. As for the master of the 3rd series, the strength is definitely stronger past his so, in the first space of the Eternal Dark Prison, the strength is stronger than him, too much, just the 9th dark area of this dragon domain, stronger than him there are many. Of course, even if he is stronger than him, he is a disciple of Hongyun Imai who can mobilize the law of Eternal Dark Prison, so he has stood invincible from the beginning. I came to this Eternal largely for the sake of experience, and there are so many strong men in this Eternal Hell, and the branch has such cheats. I do indeed know the first thing I encountered in this Eternal Hell. Who is the strong one? Jianwu Shuang had a glimmer of expectation in his heart, and immediately he wandered in the gray void. At the same time, the power of his soul, which was not retained at this moment, spread directly. Chapter 3865? Second more. Although the cultivation environment in the Eternal Dark Prison is extremely harsh, the limitation of the soul power of the practitioner is not too great. It is similar to the Red Cloud Realm. The soul power of the Sword Wushuang is fully released, which can diffuse a range of 100,000 miles. There is no one within 100,000 miles. Jian Wushuang shook his head and didn't care, but continued to move forward. Just half a day later. Finally someone. Jian Wushuang's expression moved, and within his soul's power range, he had sensed the presence of a forceful atmosphere. This breath is not much worse than the ancient Night Devil. And on the ground not far from Jian Wushuang, a figure also rose and his eyes looked at where Jian Wushuang was. Dare you dare to use the power of your soul to investigate so brazenly? Is it the 9th dark area? The 5 strongest? Or is it one of the top 3 of the thousands who dominate the 3rd series? But judging by the power of the soul, the other party doesn't seem to be too strong? The 2-meter-tall man wearing a blue battle armor and frowning his wings frowned, his heart hesitating. In the Eternal Dark Prison the killing is too crazy. Countless prisoners must desperately kill others to take possession of each other's treasures, so as to enhance their strength and make it easier for them to survive. Because of this, among these prisoners, except for those extremely powerful outside of the strong, confident group, most people are careful. Like this, it directly releases the power of the soul and unbridled to investigate the surrounding scenes, and few people dare to do so. So when he realized that the power of Jian Wushuang's soul was swept away, the cold man with the twin wings was thinking of escaping for the first time, but he suddenly appeared the power of Jian Wushuang's soul, which was not strong. Could even be said that relatively weak. If it is indeed the top of those prisoners, the power of the soul should not be so weak. Anyway, as long as I don't meet the 5 strongest, even if there is a top of the thousands of 3rd-level masters, I can easily save my life by my means and go and see. The cold-winged man made up his mind and approached the other side slowly. Soon Jian Wushuang's figure appeared in the sight of this cold man. Bearing the Excalibur, so young this appearance I have never seen it, among the many strong men in the 9th Dark Zone, it seems that he does not exist. The cold man frowned, staring closely at the Sword Wushuang, and the breath of power in him. The Lord of the Rules? Is it just the breath of the Lord of the Rules? The cold man was taken aback. The first floor of the current Eternal Dark Prison, hundreds of millions of prisoners, can survive the crazy killing of hundreds of chaos ages, and any one of them is extremely powerful and arrogant. Generally, the lowest level is the second highest level. Dominated by the 1st and 2nd series, they will die in this Eternal Dark Prison. It won't be long before they die. This is the case for the 1st level and even the general 2nd level. And the master of a rule even came to the eternal dark prison? What secret technique did he use to hide the breath of my divine power so that I couldn't cut it, or was he the ruler himself? The cold man couldn't be sure, but soon his eyes were cold. Whether he is the ruler or not, anyway he can be sure that he is not one of the 5 strongest in the 9th dark zone. In this case I have nothing to fear. The cold man stretched his wings behind him and turned into a black streamer, appearing in front of Jian Wushuang like lightning. Is this my first opponent when I come to eternal hell? Jian Wushuang smiled and stared at the cold man in front of him. The wings are born with a back and the air is extremely cold. With this look he should be the master of the wing family. In the swordless hands, there is an extremely detailed information of the strongman given by the ancient night demon. More than 90% of the prisoners in the 9th dark area are recorded in it. The wing leader in front of him is naturally also on the strong information. According to the information given by the ancient night demon king, this wing dominates the many prisoners in the 9th dark zone. The strength should be the lowest. When it comes to melee killing he has just reached the peak of the 2nd level. No, but his life-saving means is very good, slightly stronger than the ancient night devil. Because of this, he can always survive in this eternal dark prison. Who are you? I've been in this 9th dark zone for so long. Most of the strongest in this 9th dark zone, I have seen or known, but I have never heard of you. Staring at Jian Wushuang. My name is the Blood Sword and I just came to this demon dragon realm not long ago. You naturally don't know me. Sword Wushuangdo. It turned out to be a strong one from other domains. The dominating master nodded secretly. The 1st floor of the eternal dark prison is too large, and the number of prisoners who are still alive is endless. Some of them like to roam around, such as from one large area to another large area. This wing master has been running in the 9th dark area of the dragon domain. He knows some of the strong in the 9th dark zone and even other dark areas in the dragon domain, but if he is a strong person in other large regions except the dragon domain he knows not much. Blood Sword, are you the master, or the master of the rules? Sea Master asked. Did you know this battle against me? Jian Wushuang smiled. Then you will die. The Prince of CE is no longer nonsense, and he saw a dark flash of light suddenly on his body, and the wings of his back shrank fiercely. It was originally a human practitioner, but it turned into a huge monster with wings in a blink of an eye. A sizzling hissing sounded. This hissing sound was accompanied by a sonic attack and rushed into the soul of Jian Wushuang's soul for the first time. This should be the body that is dominated by the wing. Jian was eyes fixed. The body was exposed at the beginning, and the strongest killing trick was displayed. It seems that all the practitioners in the eternal dark prison are not soft-hearted. Seniors. Jian Wushuang rolled his divine power. Facing this wing master he wouldn't try it slowly as he did in the ancient night demon palace against the ancient night demon king. As soon as this wing master dominated, he went all out, and Sword Wushuang naturally burst out his strongest combat power instantly, even the blades used. At this moment he also directly used the magic weapon Wu Crying Sword. The trace of the universe's laws that Wushuang understands also instantly merges into swordsmanship at this moment. Dear, click in and give a good comment. The higher the score, the faster the update. It is said that a beautiful wife was found at the end of the new score. Chapter 3866. Third more. Wow. The monster that the wing dominated was extremely fast, and just a flicker appeared before the sword without 2 sides. Jian Wushuang directly stabbed a stab, and the surging divine power came out along the arm so that there was a shock in the space. The wing master turned around swiftly, avoiding the sword with great flexibility, and the moment he turned around, the pair of wings behind him suddenly turned into a terrible blade, hissing. The air was cut relentlessly. The layers of Daoguang, which are layered on each other, cut directly towards the swordless double head. Wing sword? And fast. Jian Wushuang was startled. It was a surprise that CE's move was unexpected, but his response was not slow. Get away. The sword Wushuang held the Wu Crying Excalibur, which triggered the cosmic laws that came with the Wu Crying Excalibur, and the immense and swift sword swept straight down. Clang. The sword light containing terror force hits the wings of that wing dominator at the same time, making a sound of metal impact. The wing dominator only felt a sting from his wings, but his body quickly retreated. Retreating to the surrounding void, or the wing leader could not help looking at the wings behind him, and saw a gap faintly appeared at the point where he had just fought with Jian Wushuang Jianfeng. Vaguely blood flowed out from that gap. How can it be? A glimmer of horror flashed in the eyes of the master of the wing. My tribe, wing tribe, the hardest part of the whole body is the pair of wings which have been tried and tested by me. After so many years in prison, I have killed countless times with people, and I do indeed know how many times I use this wing to fight against the enemy, whether it is to resist the opponent's attack damage, or to collide directly with the opponent's magic soldier. My pair of wings have never been hurt, but now. Just one swell did my wings hurt. Ce dominated in horror, and could not help looking at the sword with no sword in his hands. What level is the Excalibur in your hand? Ce dominated. You try a few more times with your wings and you don't know. Jianghu smiled slightly, followed by a sharp rush. I saw a row of mighty Jiangwangs displayed from the swordless hands one after another, directly covering the front wings of the wings. The main body of the wing swayed, relying on his own body, to shuttle from this sword light. After breaking through the sword light blockade, his shape turned into a black lightning, and he slammed into the sword unparalleled. Ce dominated the unbelief, and this time he still used his pair of wings to attack. Only this time he only used one wing, but it was the strongest sword he created in the eternal dark prison for so many years. Buried. There was also a low howl in the mouth of the master of the wing. This low howl accompanied the sonic attack, and madly hit Jianghu's soul to understand the sea. But Jianghu is a perfect creature. On the soul, unless it is an attack that ignores the soul and directly targets the consciousness, it is invalid. This sonic attack can't affect Jianghu at all. Jianghu still wields the sword in his hand, but this time he casts a hazy look. Wow! The hazy sword shadow invaded, and in the blink of an eye, it turned into a full mist. But in that mist, there was a heartbreaking cold light. Clang! It was another fierce collision. This time, the wing master found that the pain from his wings was more severe, and the gap that appeared at the collision with the sword front was also larger. His body exploded again. But this time he felt it from a close distance, feeling the true power of the sword with no sword in his hands. The rule of treasure is what you have in your hand. It turns out to be the rule of magic sword. The voices dominated by Ce are a bit harsh, and they are even more shocked than ever. The rule of treasure is the treasure on the first floor of the eternal hell, which is definitely a legendary treasure. Not to mention the average prisoner dominates, even if it is the 10 strongest kings recognized in the first floor of the eternal hell, in their hands, not necessarily possess the rule of treasure. But now, this person who doesn't know where to come from, and who just emits the rule's breath, has the rule of law? No wonder his feathers collided with his sword and there was damage. No matter how hard his wings are, he is only comparable to the strongest treasure. How can he compare with the rule of treasure? Not only has the rule of treasure, but his swordsmanship also contains a supreme cosmic law. His swordsmanship is also extremely powerful, and his combat power is definitely stronger than mine. The master of Ce knew it. He can't even care about Jianghu even realizing a trace of the law of the universe now. He wandered for so long in the eternal dark prison, knowing that the eternal dark prison is dangerous. The moment he knew that the man in front of him was overwhelming and knew that he was still above him, he had already made a decision. Escape. There was almost no hesitation in the of Ce. Seeing that the situation is not good, fleeing directly, this is the life-saving way in eternal dark prison. I saw that Ce dominated the huge monster that was originally transformed, but at this moment the volume was abruptly reduced, but the speed of bursting out instantly was extremely amazing. This speed is much faster than the average second-level master, and even faster than the average third-level master. The wing master was still fighting with Jianghu the previous moment, and the next moment has escaped thousands of miles, leaving Jianghu no space to chase in an instant. It's so fast, it's no wonder that the speed of this wings can survive in the eternal dark prison. This speed alone, I am afraid, will make most of the third level helpless. Jianghu smiled indifferent. Seeing Ce dominate the escape, he did not chase. Because even if he wanted to chase, he couldn't catch up. However, in this eternal dark prison he wants to kill this wing master. Even if the speed of this wing master is 10 times 100 times faster, he can't escape. The wing is dominated by Ce, you still stay. Jianghu opened his mouth with a smile, and when he turned the palm of his hand, a special token had already appeared in his hand. The wing master, although fleeing, has been paying attention to the movement of the swords in the rear. When Jianghu was found standing there and had no intention of chasing him, he breathed a sigh of relief. But suddenly he heard the laughter issued by Jianghu, and at the same time he saw that Jianghu took out something. What did this blood sword come up with? Ce dominated the sword and stared at what was taken out of his hands. He had seen that it was a token. But this token, it instantly shocked him. Chapter 3867. Fourth more. Hongyun Yime's token? No, that's impossible. Ce dominated the anger. At first he committed a heinous sin in Hongyun Yimei. After that, a disciple of Hongyun Yimei himself took him into this eternal dark prison. The disciples of Hongyun Yimei did not know him. But there are hundreds of people in Hongyun's veins who have not come to eternal dark prison. Hundreds of chaos ages haven't detained newcomers in this eternal dark prison. This led to a rumor circulating in the eternal dark prison, saying that the vein of Hongyun had been completely destroyed, and their eternal dark prison had also been abandoned. After so many years, many prisoners in the eternal dark prison have long believed this rumor. But Ce's dominion never imagined that the person in front of him would be carrying a disciple of Hongyun's disciple, and he was a disciple of Hongyun's disciple? What is even more frustrating is that he knows the privileges of Hongyun Yime's disciples in the eternal dark prison. With his life-saving means, as long as he does not meet the 5 strongest in the 9th dark zone, he will be killed by reason. However, no matter how strong his life-saving ability is, in the hands of a disciple of Hongyun, he has no effect at all. Sure enough, Jian Wushuang directly started. Relying on the tokens of the inner disciples in his hands, the sword unparalleled guided a trace of power in this eternal dark prison circle. Suddenly I saw the surrounding world shaking, and then a horrible power came and acted directly on the body of Ce. Ce dominated the madly fleeing figure and stopped on the spot, then the whole person fell as if the power of the French array rolled down directly to the ground, and finally fell heavily on the ground below, lying there, unable to move in the slightest. Master wings dominate. Jian Wushuang's figure flew over at this moment. You are not a prisoner from other large realms, you are from the outside world, you are a talented disciple of the Red Cloud. Ce dominated his head reluctantly, his face full of anger, resentment, and despair. Detained in eternal dark prison for hundreds of chaotic periods, this wing lord dominates the natural resentment against Hongyun. I thought the Red Cloud was gone, but now it seems that this is obviously not the case. But now he was repressed by the other party by relying on a disciple of Hongyun's disciples to mobilize the Falun Gong to suppress his death. In such scenes, how can he not despair? Sword Wing Master, I will give you 2 ways to let you choose. Jian Wu's eyes calmed, overlooking the winged sword lord on the ground. The first way is to submit to me for 100,000 years. Not only can I spare your life, but I can also take you out of eternal dark prison, and get rid of you as a prisoner. After 100,000 years you return to freedom. The universe is big, you can go anywhere. Jian Wushuangdo. The reason why it is only 100,000 years, not millions of years, is that Jian Wushuang can relax the conditions. After all, in his view, the demon star threatened the gods in the early days immensely. Within 100,000 years, the army of the demon stars must have killed, and his deities and the demon stars will surely separate the victory and defeat. The world is defeated, then I am afraid I must die. In the beginning, if the kingdom of God prevailed, he would be able to travel to the deeper part of the universe with peace of mind. It doesn't matter if the prisoners are not with him, so there is no difference between the period of 100,000 years and millions of years. Submit to you? Ce dominated and stared at Jian Wushuang. Of course your strength is not much weaker than me. In the eternal dark prison, as a disciple of the Red Cloud, I can suppress you with the help of the eternal dark prison law, but once you leave the eternal dark prison with your ability, you can leave at any time and I can't stop you, so make sure in case I will leave a trace of imprint in the source of your soul. Jian Wushuang said. If you leave the imprint of the soul in the origin of the soul of the other party, you can easily grasp the life and death of the other party. Unless the perfect level of life is like Jian Wushuang himself, the annihilation of the soul can be immediately restored, otherwise he can easily kill the other soul in a single thought. Where is the second way? He asked. The second way, no matter how you choose, is a dead end. Jian Wushuang said directly. Haha. The Prince of Ce laughed, and his laughter was crazy even with endless iciness. Blood Sword, you might as well look down on me. My wing is from the E-Wing family. The people of the E-Wing family have never feared death. You want me to surrender to you and even let you leave a mark on the origin of my soul. From then on, you are in charge of your life and death. That is simply a dream. Don't say that you are a disciple of Hongyun and have a hatred against me. Even if you are not a person of Hongyun and have no grudges with me, I will never give my life and death to you for my living. Grasp. Master C, you have to think clearly, after all, only 100,000 years? Jian Wushuang frowned, trying to persuade. Haha, let alone 100,000 years, even if it is only 1 year, 1 day, I will not allow it. My wing has been wandering in the eternal dark prison for so long, I haven't seen anything, I don't care about my life and death. Now, you are a mess of red clouds and veins and you want me to surrender? Go for your spring and autumn dreams. Haha. Ce dominated the laughter, and his eyes suddenly became scarlet. And Jian Wushuang immediately found that this wing dominated the madness of the divine power in the body. Soul burns? The sword has no double-sided color, and quickly controls the eternal dark prison array power to suppress it. But Jian Wushuang could only suppress the actions of Ce's domination, but he could not stop the riots of divine power and soul in his domination. Ah! The wing master dominated the painful absorption, his soul was burning madly at a speed of 100 times, and only a moment his soul was completely burned out, and the vitality of the wing master was completely cut off. Died. I would rather burn my soul to commit suicide than to submit to me. Jian Wushuang frowned. He thought he had relaxed his requirements. As long as the other party surrendered to him for 100,000 years, he could take him out of this eternal dark prison without having to live the life of a lawless prisoner. The wing leader should agree to come down. But as a result, this wing dominated but died. It is better to commit suicide than to surrender. It seems that the prisoners in the eternal dark prison are not as easy to conquer as I imagined. The sword has no double-sided dignity. He came to eternal underworld for 2 purposes. The first is to practice yourself and improve your strength. The second is to try to conquer some of the strongest in the eternal dark prison. These conquered strong men, he can take them out of eternal dark prison, and then fight for the early gods. Emperor Jiutian. Chapter 3868. Fifth More. Jian Wushuang's idea is very good, and the 100,000-year deadline is not high. In fact, for most powerful people in the universe, they cannot accept the imprint of the other person at the origin of their soul. Because that's all about giving your life and death to the other party's control. Naturally, you don't dare to violate the orders of the other party. Although Jian Wushuang's promise is only 100,000 years, what if he kept it? The imprint of the soul has been left, even if Jian Wushuang has been trending in the endless years in the future? They also dare not resist. These prisoners prefer to stay in the eternal dark prison compared to this kind of day that is completely controlled by the other party. Even if there is no day and no madness here, even they would rather die than want to be like this puppet. Moreover, there is another most important reason, which is the identity and strength of Jian Wushuang. If Jian Wushuang is a real strongman, don't be strong as long as there are 10 kings in the first space, they have absolute strength to crush all prisoners, and then persecute the other to surrender. These prisoners are also willing, after all, they was convinced by the opponent's strength. However, sword warriors are different. Sword warriors' own strength is not much stronger than that of the wing master. They only rely on the tokens of the disciples of Hongyun to suppress the other party. This will not convince the other party, and the prisoners in this eternal dark prison are all it was from Hongyun that he was detained. These prisoners have spent hundreds of chaos in the eternal dark prison. One by one they have a deep hatred for the Jade, and Jian Wushuang, as a disciple of Hongyun, wants to subdue them. Of course, it is even more difficult. Although knowing that it is very difficult to conquer, Jian Wushuang is not in a hurry. After all, this is just the first prisoner he meets. There are countless prisoners in this eternal dark prison, and not everyone will die like this wing master. I came to this eternal dark prison mainly to experience and improve my strength. As for the strong, it is not anxious to conquer the strong, and you can take it slowly. Next, if I meet those prisoners again, unless the opponent is too strong, I can only use the power of the array to save my life. Otherwise I will try not to mobilize the power of the array. After all, move the array frequently. If it is powerful, the movement will be a little bigger. I am afraid that someone like me who is a red cloud and a disciple will roam in the dark prison, and it will spread. In the future, I will roam in this eternal dark prison. It will not be so easy. Jian Wushuang secretly said. He has made up his mind to experience and conquer the strong. He focuses on the experience first. As for conquering the strong, when he is almost done, he is going to conquer. As soon as Ce's master died, his body and Chen Kunji were left behind. Jian Wushuang took away the Chen Kuan ring dominated by Ce first, and his consciousness was immediately investigated. With this investigation, Jian Wushuang's eyes lightened. This wing dominates, and he is trapped in eternal dark prison for a long time. There are hundreds of times of chaos. In such a long time, There may be a lot of masters who died in his hands. Otherwise, he is the most precious treasure in the world. There will never be so many. Jian Wushuang sighed softly. At a glance of his consciousness, he found that the Qinghuan ring dominated by this wing was the strongest treasure, and there were more than 20 pieces, and there were treasure armors, domains, repressions, etc., although there was no such high level the strongest treasure, but still very amazing. This is only just the strongest treasure. As for the top and peak treasures, it is even more numerous. This prisoner in the eternal dark prison is so rich? Jian Wushuang also exclaimed. It is indeed too rich. This wing is dominated by the prisoners who are living in the first space. He can always survive, mainly because of his life-saving ability, but I am afraid that there are not many prisoners he killed himself, but he still has more than 20 of the most powerful treasures. If you kill the more powerful prisoners, Jian Wushuang's gains will certainly be greater. Yes, the wings dominated by this wing are also a good treasure. Jian Wushuang glanced at the corpse dominated by CE, and waved his hand directly to cut off the whole pair of wings dominated by CE. Then he continued to wander in the surrounding void. In the 9th dark area, the prisoners exceeded 100,000, and the branches were extremely dense. Jian Wushuang so unscrupulously released the power of the soul to roam in the 9th dark zone, it is easy to meet other prisoners. Only 2 hours after CE's death, Jian Wushuang met another prisoner. This prisoner is superior to CE's master in terms of strength, which is comparable to the ancient Night Demon King. After the encounter, the two met directly without a word. Jian Wushuang also took out his own peak fighting power and fought fiercely. You must know that Jian Wushuang broke out with all his strength and relied on the rule of arcana and his sword skills. This prisoner has the same combat power as the ancient Night Demon King, but is slightly weaker than the ancient Night Demon King in the method of close killing. To fight against Jian Wushuang, at the beginning he was still fighting, but gradually he was suppressed by Jian Wushuang. Knowing that he was not an opponent of Jian Wushuang, the prisoner left with a look of astonishment. Jian Wushuang did not use the array power to keep it this time, but continued to rush. In a flash, Jian Wushuang has been in the eternal dark prison for 13 days. In the 13 days he encountered 18 people in total, but only 12 of them actually fought against him. The other 6 found that Jian Wushuang dared to release the power of the soul so unscrupulously. Seeing that Jian Wushuang's soul power is not too strong, but still far away, he did not meet Jian Wushuang. And the 12 people who fought against the sword unparalleled are also only the highest level of the second level. The weakest is also about the same as the wing master, and the strong one is even better than the ancient night demon. All have to be a little stronger, but the 12 people who fought against Jian Wushuang, except for CE who died at the beginning, the other 11 people found that they couldn't help Jian Wushuang and chose to leave. But today Jian Wushuang encountered the 19th person, who is a master who reached the 3rd rank. Named Deer Worm Demon. The Deer Worm ancestor, among the thousands of 3rd-level masters in this 9th dark area, is a relatively ordinary one. He has a strong ability to protect the body, but his ability to attack close is more general. The strong realm is the most precious one, and the realm of suppressing the realm is very strong. The 9-penal monarch who once faced one of the 5 strongest people in this 9th dark area can calmly retreat. Jian Wushuang looked at the blood-covered man who appeared in front of him, but there was a hint of excitement in his eyes. End of this chapter. Chapter 3869. 6 more arrived today. Jian Wushuang came to this eternal dark prison for 13 days, and the 18 prisoners he met along the way, whether he had dealt with him or not, were only the masters of the 2nd level and the 3rd level. The master of numbers, this deer worm ancestor, is still the 1st. I went to the eternal dark prison to practice. This was to fight with stronger men. The master of the level of the ancient night demon is strong, but it can't really bring me too much pressure. Zhu, as the master of the 3rd series, should have a much stronger combat ability than the ancient night demon king, but it is a suitable challenge for the opponent. Jian Wushuang has a hint of expectation in his heart. Master of rules? When Jian Wushuang looked at the deer worm demon, this handsome cold-blooded male deer worm deer was also looking at Jian Wushuang. Eternal Dark Prison is generally held by the 1st or 2nd series of masters. After hundreds of chaos eras, these masters have either died in the midst of crazy killings, or their strength has increased, and they all reach the top level of the 2nd level. Even if a few did not reach it, their life-saving ability would be extremely strong. But in this Eternal Dark Prison, how can there be a ruler? Did he deliberately hide the breath of divine power, and his secret technique to hide the breath is so brilliant that I can't even see it through? The deer ancestor frowned. Dear worm ancestor, can you fight me? Jian Wushuang looked at the dear worm ancestor in front of him. Sir, most of the prisoners in the Eternal Dark Prison know most of them. Although I see and recognize you, you can survive in the Eternal Dark Prison until now. The strength must not be weak. There is no need to deliberately hide the breath of divine power and pretend to be a ruler. Wait? Dear ancestor murmured coldly. Pretend? Jian Wushuang smiled dumbly. Dear worm ancestor, needless to say nonsense or fight against me for a victory or defeat, or disappear quickly in front of me, I will not be difficult for you. Crazy. The dear ancestor's voice was cold. Even the 5 strongest people in this 9th dark zone are not qualified to make me disappear from the front. What are you? I want to see where are you? Qualification to come, dare to say this. I also want to know how powerful your dear worm ancestor is. Jian Wushuang smiled, but his figure was already floating forward. Jian Wushuang shot directly and was the first shot. But the moment he set off there was a buzzing bluish, suddenly swept across in all directions. Each of these cyan streamers is extremely dazzling, exuding a unique breath, and in the blink of an eye, it has condensed into a huge shuttle, covering the sky and the sky. Jian Wushuang immediately noticed a powerful oppression and restraint force acting on him, making him unable to sink in shape. Is Qianshuji? Jian Wushuang frowned. Thousands of shuttles, the best in the strongest category of treasures, is also one of the strongest treasures in the hands of deer worms. This dear ancestral ancestor is said to have 2 pieces of the most powerful treasures in the highest level. One is the 1,000 shuttle world, and the other is the armor he wears. As for his attack on the magic soldier, he has not yet reached need for level. The field is oppressed, so let's see who is stronger in the field. Jian Wushuang laughed heartily, and the moment the voice fell, a large block of black magic light swept out. The triple magic light mirror waning burst out. On the level of the treasure, the triple magic mirror is also the strongest treasure of the highest level, and it is not weaker than the 1,000 shuttle world of the demon ancestor. In terms of divine power, the deer worm ancestor is naturally stronger and logically stronger. However, Jian Wushuang has realized a trace of the laws of the universe. By the realization of the laws of the universe, he evokes the field of magic light. The power is also stronger and the 2 are madly attacking each other. In a short time they each formed a field each other and the chambers competed. You even have such a domineering field class treasure? The deer worm ancestor looked at Jian Wushuang in surprise. I have more than that. Jian Wushuang smiled indifferently, and a large amount of gloom spread among the huge pair of wings behind him. Shuangguang Smash Tianyi and Shuangguang Realm unfolded. Shuangguang Realm is also a domain-type means, and it is also controlled by Jian Wushuang. Under the control of Jian Wushuang, this Shuangguang Realm is immediately combined with the Magical Light Realm, and the power of the Magical Light Realm soars in time. Banging. The field soared into the sky, forming the Tao Tao Field Ocean, and madly attacked the past of the thousands of shuttle circles of the deer, insect and ancestor. Just now, it was able to compete with the magic light field, which was quite 1,000 shuttles. At this moment, it was extremely shocked and the entire field began to fall. What? The deer worm ancestor was startled and frowned at Jian Wushuang. I have been fighting for many years in the Eternal Dark Prison. I have played against the masters of countless 2nd and 3rd ranks. In the process I said that most of the fields were suppressed by me. Only a few can compete with my field chambers. As for those who have suppressed my field positively, you are the 3rd one for a long time. However, the field is just a supplementary means. Your field is strong, but I don't know if the combat power is the same. The dear ancestor's voice was cold, a purple shuttle appeared in the palm of his right hand, and the surging divine power condensed on his body. Kill? With a low drink, the deer worm ancestor shook and appeared directly in front of Jian Wushuang. Even though he is now being suppressed by the magic light field, but the dominance of the 3rd level, this field is not too strong to suppress him, and his combat power can still play more than 90%. Call out. A scream of loud air sounded. The long shuttle in the hands of the deer worm ancestor suddenly turned into a purple horror. This purple horror was extremely dazzling and eye-catching. So fast. Jian Wushuang showed a hint of surprise. Obviously being suppressed by his field, the speed of the deerworm tribe's shuttle turned out to be so fast, and the combat power of the 3rd series was really extraordinary. Jian Wushuang also immediately shot. In his hand, Wu crying Excalibur issued a faint sound of swordsing. Above. The shuttle shook slightly, but immediately it produced a special strength, and it rippled like a black hole that swallowed the sky and swept the sword. Broken. Jian Wushuang whispered in a low voice, Wu Wei's magic sword power can show. A hazy sword shadow invaded instantly. The strongest sword skill created by Jian Wushuang, hazy. Chapter 3870. The first is more. The sword shadow power broke out, and the black hole that swallowed the world suddenly shrank and then disappeared. The deer worm ancestor looked up at Jian Wushuang in amazement. The rule is precious? Do you still understand a little rule of the universe? At this moment, the deer worm ancestor had set off a huge wave in his heart, but immediately he calmed down. Kill you, this rule of treasure is mine. The demon ancestor of the deer bug is soaring into the sky, and the shuttle in his hand is directly turned into a sharp purple arc at this moment. It's fast and completely unclear. These purple arcs directly attacked Xiang Jianshuang's head. Jian Wushuang also waved the Wu weapon sword in his hand. Regarding the speed of swordsmanship, he was not under the shuttle. However, Jian Wushuang is only the master of the rules, relying on the perfect level of life, adding many secret skills, and the rule of treasure in terms of power. He also reached the threshold of dominating the second level. The deer worm ancestor, however, is the third level master, and it is much stronger than Jian Wushuang in divine power. Clang, clang, clang. After only a few collisions, Jian Wushuang did not crush at all, and looked rather embarrassed. It is indeed the master of the third series, great. Jian Wushuang marveled, but the excitement in his eyes did not diminish in the slightest. This strength just allows me to test that trick. The sword unparalleled took the initiative. Swah. Swords are sweeping like waves. The void in front of him seemed to be plunged into a continuous sea, and countless waves of layers spread endlessly. These waves are sometimes violent, rolling up huge waves. Sometimes soft, as if the spring breeze hit the face. From time to time, it was like a mighty army. The sky soared like ocean, surging and surging, completely covered the deer, worm and demon ancestors in front of it. From the beginning, the demon ancestor did not care about this sword technique performed by Sword Master. He waved the shuttle at will, and the shuttle picked up the mighty power and easily crushed the waves. But a wave of a heavy wave was crushed, and a wave of a second wave was swept immediately, a wave of a second wave was defeated, and a wave of a third wave came again. There are endless waves of shocking waves. After dozens of waves rushed. This sword art is endless? The deer worm ancestor frowned, and he also found that the sword wave that blindly defeated the table and killed him was useless at all. You can only use the force to break the method, directly defeat the sword Wushuang this sword to completely break the crack, and disperse the surrounding sword art mood. Purple light. The demon ancestor murmured, and the purple shuttle in his hand suddenly burst into a dazzling purple light. This purple light is like a huge purple sun appearing between heaven and earth, shining. And in the center of this purple sun, a horrific power burst out. The strongest trick created by the deer ancestor, Ziguang. This move is also one of the capitals that the deer worm ancestors can spend hundreds of times in the eternal dark prison. Banging. This bright purple light directly dissipated the surrounding sky waves, and in a single breath wiped out most of the sky as sword-like ocean, but failed to completely wipe out the sword-like ocean. The sword Wushuang divine power tumbled down, the annihilation of the sword of the ocean, half of the sky once again rose into the sky, the endless sword of waves, still unbridled impact. What? The deer ancestor's face finally changed. One of his strongest moves failed to completely break the swordplay? And this swordplay is obvious. As long as you don't break open, you can recover instantly. The waves are really endless. Although his demon ancestors are extremely powerful, he can easily defeat the waves of assaults, but in the face of the endless waves he only has a dumbfounded role. The deer worm ancestor immediately wanted to get rid of the scope of this sword-like ocean, but Jinny Ocean took him as the core and swept away from all directions, so he couldn't get rid of it at all. He can only fall into the midst of this sword-like ocean, passively resisting the waves from the surroundings. In the Red Cloud realm, using wave light, one of the strongest swordsmanships created by many opportunities, not originally to kill the enemy but to entangle and trap each other. This deer ancestor is caught in my wavelight swordsmanship, unless he can absolutely crushing power, with a force to break the law, completely defeated my sword style, or even if he has a monstrous ability, he can only be entangled by my sword-like ocean, and cannot escape. Looking at the deer worm ancestor who was constantly trying to break free in the ocean of swords, a smile appeared on Jian Wushuang's face. He created the three strongest swords. The hazy attack power is the strongest and is used to kill the enemy. Guardian of the Earth is a body sword used for defense. And this wave of lightsaber is to entangle and trap the enemy. This move is not very destructive, but the ability to entangle the enemy is extremely good. Although this dear ancestor is the master of the 3rd level, he is best at the field and body protection ability. As for his killing ability and attacking power, it is not very strong. Now he is being used in the field. Under the premise of the complete suppression of Jianghu Shuang, this dear worm ancestor could not break the wave lightsaber at one time, and naturally, it was only the sword that had been trapped by Jianghu Shuang's sword-like ocean. The dear worm ancestor has been trying to break free in the sword of the sea, but after exerting all his powers he can't get rid of it. After a while he finally gave up. Aggrieved, this battle was really aggrieved. The dear worm ancestor also had a hint of anger in his heart. While resisting the sword wave from the surrounding impact, his eyes locked the sword unparalleled in front of Tao Tao. This man is obviously inferior to me, but he is good at this entangled swordsmanship, but he is very difficult. I am a little worse at attacking power and can't break his swordsmanship. There is no way to take him. I knew he had the rule of treasure in his hands and I couldn't get it. The dear ancestor shook his head. Sir, stop. The dear ancestor suddenly said, his voice low. Stop it. Jianghu Shuang Ey, although I can't help you, do you still want to kill me with this sword skill? The dear worm ancestor looked at Jianghu Shuang coldly. Jianghu Shuang smiled dumbly. Indeed, his wave of lightsaber is very powerful, but it is only used to entangle the trapped enemy. As for relying on this sword to kill the dear ancestors, that is a joke. The dear worm ancestor is the master of the 3rd rank, and in the 3rd rank of the master, it is also famous for its field and body protection ability. His body protection method is much stronger than the attack and kill method. To kill him, even this is the case. The 5 strongest people in the 9th Dark Zone cannot do it. Unless they mobilize the power of the French array, they will definitely not do it. Emperor Jiutian. Chapter 3871. Second more. Jianghu Shuang could not kill this dear worm ancestor at all. Even if it is more than the power of the demon, although his own power is more vast than that of the dear worm ancestor, his sword power wave consumes the power of the is not small, and the dear worm ancestor is caught in the ocean of swordsmanship. To resolve the surrounding heavy attacks, the consumption of divine power is very small. In this way, Jianghu Shuang has no advantage. Mantion's sword means the ocean disappears out of thin air, and Jianghu Shuang has also taken back the Wu weapon sword in his hand. Sir, could you tell me your name? The dear ancestor also withdrew the shuttle and looked at Jianghu Shuang calmly. My name is Blood Sword. The sword was unparalleled. Blood Sword, if I read correctly, you should still be a ruler? Asked the dear ancestor. Yes. Jianghu Shuang did not deny. If the dear ancestor sees himself at first, he may also suspect that he has exerted a special method to hide the breath of divine power. With the 2 sides fighting, with the vision of this dear worm ancestor, naturally he can see that the sword is unique. Only integrating the 3 rules of heaven and earth, there is still a certain distance from the master. Jianghu Shuang did not intend to conceal the fact that he was only the ruler. Unexpectedly, in the 1st level of this eternal dark prison, not only there are a large number of prisoners who dominate the hierarchy, but even the ruler of the rule, but you, the ruler of the rule, is indeed against the sky. I was extremely impressed, and I also realized a bit of the law of the universe. The sword skill is also so powerful, especially the sword skill you last cast, even I can't help it. The dear worm ancestor also praised the sword's unique strength. Although it is only the rule ruler, there is no doubt that Jianghu Shuang is definitely the rule ruler that the dear worm ancestor has ever seen. Thanks for the praise, your strength is not weak. Jianghu Shuang laughed. He also acknowledged the strength of this dear ancestor. After all, what he just saw was only the attacking and killing ability and domain of the dear ancestor. The most terrifying thing of the dear worm ancestor is his protection method. Blood Sword, although you are not weak, but I still advise you, in the eternal dark prison in the future, it is better to be as low-key as possible. If you see NT, try not to, because after all, you have the law treasure. This is a treasure that even the 10 most powerful kings will love. Once they are known, there will be a lot of strong people watching you. Your entangled swordsmanship is very powerful. I can't break it, but that's just my ability to attack and kill a little bit. If you encounter some 3rd-level masters who are extremely good at attacking and killing, you may not be able to do so. It worked, said the dear ancestor. Thank you very much. Jianghu Shuang thanked him. However, I have hundreds of chaos ages in the eternal dark prison of Blood Sword, and the great realm has crossed 3. But until now I have lived well, maybe I am in strength. This eternal dark prison is not the best, but if you want to save your life, there are really few who can kill me in this eternal dark prison. Jian Wushuang's unbelievable self-confidence made the dear ancestor stunned, and then nodded. Yes, if you do not have a considerable life-saving ability, you will not be able to live in this eternal dark prison until now. That rule of treasure is not always in your hands. The dear ancestor apparently had no doubts about the sword unparalleled words. He did not think that Jian Wushuang was only just more than 10 days after he arrived in the eternal dark prison. As for what he said, there were hundreds of times of chaos spanning 3 large domains, that was just talking nonsense just to confuse the dear demon ancestor, nothing more. However, it is true that Jian Wushuang has absolute confidence in his life-saving ability. After all, Hongyun Yaiman's disciple's token is in his hand. He is invincible in this eternal dark prison. That being the case, then I don't have to say much more. Leave? The dear worm ancestor arched his hand at the sword Wushuang, and then left directly. Jian Wushuang watched the dear ancestor depart, and a smile gradually appeared on his face. This dear worm ancestor just said that because I felt that I had released the power of the soul to investigate in this eternal dark prison too. Swaying, it's easy to attract the strong, but he doesn't know. I came to this eternal dark prison for the sake of experience. For me, the more powerful the better in the eternal dark prison, the better. I know one refuses. Jian Wushuang is eager to fight with many of the top powerhouses in eternal dark prison. But one thing he also knew was that it had to be gradual. After all, his current combat power is there, which is the peak of the 2nd series. When he meets the general 3rd series, he can't beat him and can only rely on Wave Lightsaber to entangle it. The ancestor of the deer bug just now has a more general attack and killing ability. After being trapped by his own Wave Lightsaber, there is nothing he can do but to stop. However, if it is replaced by the 3rd level master who has a strong ability to attack and kill, this wave of lightsaber may not be able to play such a big role. Just now, the demon ancestor of the deer worm cast his strongest move, but it only wiped out most of my wave lightsaber. It is far from the limit that wave lightsaber can withstand, that is, even if it is attacking the 3rd level master who is slightly stronger than the demon ancestors on the killing power is probably not able to forcibly break my trick. In this 9th dark zone, those who can lose my wave of lightsaber in a single move, I am afraid there are only the 5 strongest. As for the thousands of 3rd level masters, the combat power is at the top. But if I can break my wave lightsaber, I have to try to know. Jian Wushuang muttered. In the battle with the deer worm ancestors, the sword unparalleled harvested a lot. At least I know the gap between myself and the 3rd level master, and I also understand the ability of the wave lightsaber you created. And then of course he continued to wander in the surrounding area. And he is still unbridled and directly releases the power of his soul covering a radius of 100,000 miles, searching for the strong around him. Such an unscrupulous search is naturally easy to encounter with those strong and then fight. The sword unparalleled cannot resist, in this 9th dark area, and fierce battle with a prisoner, a strong and so on. In a blink of an eye, Jian Wushuang came to the 1st floor of this eternal dark prison for 3 months. In these 3 months, there were hundreds of strong men before and after him, of which 6 were 3rd level dominated feat. Most of these strong men chose to fight with him, and they also had victory and defeat. As for the 6 3rd level masters who faced each other, Jian Wushuang is not an opponent. They can only rely on wave lightsaber to entangle them, and the other party it's hard to do nothing about him. Emperor Jiutian. Chapter 3872. 3rd More. Demon Domain, the 9th Dark Zone. It was an unknown hill, but now it has been called the Qianblade Mountain by many prisoners in the 9th Dark Zone. The reason for this is because Thousand Blades Lord, one of the 5 strongest in the 9th Dark Zone, lives there. Unlike those prisoners who have been smashing and killing all year round, the Lord of the Thousand Blades is already at the top of this eternal dark prison. As long as it is not the 10 kings who provoked the Zeon, there is basically no danger, so he can find a place more comfortable as a long-term residence. Many prisoners in the 9th dark area knew that this was where he lived, so they dared not approach. But today there is one person on this Thousand Blade Mountain. 1,000 blades. The cold voice echoed all over the mountain, and a figure immediately swept out of the 1,000 Blade Mountains. The face of Bingyu exudes a faint sheen, and his breath is bland but still awesome. He is the master of 1,000 blades. Long Shin, why do you have time for me today? Chen Blade Demon looked at the Lord Longshen in front of him, with a smile on his face. In the eternal dark prison, although many prisoners are extremely mad to kill in the long years of killing, some prisoners have formed a relationship with each other and some friends exist. Thousand Blade Demon Lord has a few friendships that are not bad. The Dragon Shin who has reached the 3rd level is one of them. Your days are leisurely. Lord Shin Shen looked at the relaxed look of Chen Dao Demon and couldn't help sighing. Haha, detained in eternal dark prison, can't see the sun all day long, how can there be any leisure? Chen Blade Demon smiled. Dragon Shin, a rare trip, come to my cave house, give me a drink, how? No, I'm here to tell you something. I'll leave when I'm finished. Long Shin dominated. Oh. Thousand Blade Lord looked. What? Just 3 months ago, a new strong emerged in this 9th dark zone. Have you ever known about this? Long Shin asked. The 1st floor of the eternal dark prison is so huge, we have a total of 108 dark areas in our dragon domain alone. What is so strange about coming from another dark area to a strong one? Chen Blade the Lord doesn't agree. But this person has been in the 9th dark zone for 3 months. During this period he played against many prisoners in the 9th dark zone. These prisoners all agreed that he was only a ruler. Long Shin ruled the road. Master of rules? The 1,000-edged demon lord, who had just disapproved, immediately showed his astonishment, and his expression became dignified. In the beginning the cloud of Hongyun was extremely strong, the territory of the kingdom of God opened up was vast, and the majesty of the majesty was countless. I were all detained by this vein into this eternal dark prison, and the vein of red cloud was detained in this first space. There are a lot of masters, but there are also some masters of the rules. Although the rulers of these rules are dead, maybe the masters of the rules have survived. However, the killing of the eternal dark prison is extremely mad. A rule master can survive hundreds of times of chaos in this long kill and survive to this day. The talent of the rule master should be quite rewarding. Force it will not be worse. Thousand Blade Magic Master. Yes, the ruler is very against the sky. Not only is he extremely aware of the origin of the Kendo universe, but he also understands a bit of the law of the universe. Even if these talents are placed in the vast universe, they are absolutely top-notch. This kind of super genius that is rare in billions of stars. Unfortunately, the vein of Hongyun has long since disappeared, otherwise the talent of the ruler should have been released long ago. Long Shin dominated. Hongyun Imai created the eternal dark prison by selecting some powerful businessmen for Hongyun Imai. A super genius who has realized a trace of the laws of the universe at the level of the ruler. Of course Hongyun Imai will not be willing to be held here forever. Long Shen, you came here deliberately to tell me about this? The Qiandao demon looked at Master Long Shen in confusion. Although the Lord of the Rules is indeed very dazzling against the sky, it has nothing to do with him, and it should not be worth the visit of Lord Shin Shen. Thousand Blades, you may not know yet, there is a rule of treasure in the hands of the ruler. Suddenly the Master of Long Shen said. What did you say? Thousand Blade Demon stared sharply, and there was no such relaxed appearance just now. It is a rule of law treasure. He has been in the 9th dark zone for 3 months, and he has said to hundreds of prisoners during the period that those prisoners can see that the magic soldier in his hand is the law of treasure, and because he is already realizing the relationship of a rule of the universe, he can even exert that rule of treasure to a certain degree of power. In addition, the rule of treasure in his hand is still a magic sword. Dragon Shin ruled. Law of the most precious sword? Thousand Blade Demon Master was completely excited. You know what he is good at is kendo. The magic soldier he used is also a magic sword, but he is only using the strongest magic sword that reaches the highest level. The magic sword with the rule of treasure is definitely his dream. Long Shin, do you know the size and shape of the Excalibur used by that ruler? Qinlian Demon asked. I have asked a master who has played against him before. According to the master, the ruler named Bloodsword has a very thin Excalibur sword. He should be sharp and good at cutting and killing. Excalibur, and the exquisite sword's breath is extremely cold, extremely dark, even the naked eye will feel heart palpitations. Long Shin dominated. The breath is cold and dark, good at cutting the rule of assassination to the magic sword. Thousand Blade Demon Lord shivered. It fits perfectly. That exquisite sword is so suitable for him, its nature is similar to the Excalibur he is using now, but that is the rule of treasure. In the entire first floor of the eternal dark prison, the law treasure is definitely a legendary existence. Even the 10 recognized kings of Xi'an, it is difficult to say whether they have a rule of treasure in their hands. He is the one with 5 blades. In this ninth dark area, as one of the 5 strongest men, his combat power has barely reached the 3rd level. Compared with the 10 kings, he is not worse. Too much. If at this time he can get a magical treasure that is suitable for his swordplay, then his combat power is likely to leap to the level of the 10 kings. By then, he will be the 11th king in the first space of this eternal dark prison. Emperor Jiuqian, click in and give a good comment. The higher the score, the faster the update. It is said that a beautiful wife was found at the end of the new score. Chapter 3873. 4th is here. 1,000 blades, you are good at swordsmanship. The ruler of the ruler's hand is the most precious sword. It should be right for you. Dragon Shin Master looked over. It's more than just fit, it's just tailored for me. 1,000 Blade Demon's eyes were full of surprises. Dragon, how did you know the ruler? There is no way for Fu to communicate in the eternal dark prison. I just happened to pass by Gugu Wang and listen to Gugu Wang. Long Shin dominated. Eternal dark prison is a jail, where order communication cannot be performed at all. Because of this, the news in the eternal dark prison is very ill-informed. It has been 3 months since Jian Wushuang ran into this 9th dark area, but the master of the 1,000 blades has not received the news until now. This is why Lord Shin came over here for a trip. Otherwise the 1,000 blade demon lord stayed here without asking about world affairs, and it may not be known that Jian Wushuang exists for decades. King of the ghosts? 1,000 blade demon lord looked. Listen to the Gupang king, he has just fought a battle with the ruler. Although he is far superior to the latter in terms of strength, the ruler knows how to perform an extremely unique entangled sword technique, that sword technique. Quite weird, the Gugu king was caught in it and he couldn't break it. Even if he used the strongest attack method, he couldn't break the sword in one breath, so he could only stop. Long Shin dominated. Gubu, why can't he? Frostblade Master frowned. The king of Goku, among the thousands of 3rd level masters in the 9th dark area, is definitely the top one. His attacking and killing methods are also extremely good. Among the many 3rd level masters, he can definitely be ranked the top 20, but even the Gu Po king, who has this kind of attack power, can't break the entangled swordsmanship of the ruler? Although Guru failed to break the sword, but Guru also said that the entangled sword of the ruler has almost reached the limit under his attack. If his attack power can a little stronger is enough to defeat that swordsmanship. Long Shin dominated again. Oh. The Lord of the 1,000 Blades' eyes suddenly lit up. Haha, the Ghost King was able to defeat that sword skill within a trace, and I am one of the top 5 in the 9th dark zone. Strong, if I shoot, the ruler's entangled swordsmanship can't stop me at all, I can completely defeat his swordsmanship and kill him again. Well, it's possible. Lord Long Shin nodded. However, the ruler's body holds the rule of treasure, but he can survive hundreds of times of chaos in this eternal dark prison. His life-saving means must be extraordinary. There should be more than just one entangled swordsmanship. Therefore, I will go to the Blood Rain for insurance. A trip. 1,000 Blades Lord said. Blood Rain Demon? There was a flash of fear in the eyes of Lord Long Shin. In this 9th dark area, the 5 strongest have their own means, such as the Master of the 1,000 Blades, who are good at swordsmanship and attack and kill first. The Blood Rain Demon is good at all kinds of weird methods, but her best thing is the formation method. As soon as the formation method came out, even if the 3rd-ranked Dominator was trapped in her formation method, it was difficult to get rid of it, and eventually it would be annihilated by the mighty power in that formation method. Therefore, the prisoners who roamed in the 9th dark area, when they saw the Blood Rain Demon, they would choose to escape immediately, and they would not give the Blood Rain Demon the opportunity to deploy. But this time, if the Master of the 1,000 Blades asked the Lord of the Blood Rain to join forces, the two can almost sweep everything in the 9th dark zone. Shui Yu once owed me a favor, and this time I used her to ask her to take a shot. She should not refuse. Qian Blade Demon said. Then I wish you every success. Yes, the ruler's near-end time is roaming in the area where Gugu Wang is located. If you have come to the Blood Rain Demon, or you can go to that area to find him. Long Shin dominated. Long Shin, thank you for coming here to tell me this time. I have written down this relationship, and I will definitely have a banquet to thank you when this thing is done. Chimbian Demon said. Haha, a rule of treasure is still the most suitable rule for your magic sword, and a banquet alone can't kill me. Long Shin dominated jokingly. The Qian Blade Demon Lord didn't talk to the Lord Long Shin again, but immediately set off to invite the Blood Rain Demon. Jian Wushuang didn't know that he had been followed by the 1,000 swordsmen of the 9th darkest strongest, even if he knew he wouldn't care. He was still alone in the 9th dark zone, fighting fiercely with the strong men he encountered. Now Wushuang Jian met the 160th strongman since he entered the eternal dark prison. This is a burly man with a tall body, wearing a red armor and carrying a large sword. This burly man is called the Ancient Star Master, and before being held in eternal dark prison, he should be a Star Master of the 3rd level of the astral realm, and also reach the top of the 2nd level. Jian Wushuang played against this ancient mixed star master. I saw the master of ancient mixed stars stepping out one after another. Each step was heavy and powerful, as if to break the void. And every time he stepped out, the broad knife in his hand had to be cut again. Boom. The blade of light is vast and broad, as if opening up a world. A knife followed a knife, splitting the obstacles in front of them. There are 5 different rules in this ancient mixed star master swordsmanship, all of which are fused with each other, and this ancient mixed star master has the highest achievement in the use of the rules of the heavens and the earth, and it is the rules of the earth. So terrible knife. The sword Wushuang held the Wu weapon sword, and also successively exerted sword skills to compete with the ancient master's sword. However, in terms of strength and might, it is weaker than the swordsmanship of this ancient mixed star. Jian Wushuang could barely resist the swordsmanship of this ancient mixed star master, but while resisting, Jian Wushuang's heart suddenly had a lot of insights. Tight, nostalgic, endless. Although the ancient mixed star master understood and integrated the 5 rules at the same time, it is clear that the 5 rules are mainly based on the rules of the earth. His rules of the earth are like a sphere. The 4 other rules are perfectly contained together so that they do not distinguish each other. This is the tolerance of the earth kind. Jian Wushuang, a variety of emotions emerged at one time. At the same time, in his mind, the 4 rules he understood, and the process of integration with each other gradually became clearer. It should be noted that he fully understood the 4 rules very early, and merged 3 of them. Only the earth rule could not be perfectly integrated with the other 3 rules. And he spent thousands of years in the Red Cloud realm. There are many opportunities in the Red Cloud realm, and one of them is the Wuxian statue. Chapter 3874. 5th More. Wuxian, the special life of the vast universe favored by the universe, can be born with the 9 rules and become the ultimate master. And the statue of Wugo in the Red Cloud realm, although it is only a scale of Wugo, still contains the essence of the fusion of 9 different rules. Jian Wushuang has enlightened under this statue of Wugo for a long time. Through the rules of the earth, at the same time, the fusion of the rules of the earth with the other 3 rules is more or less enlightened, but it has not been possible to truly merge. But now, fighting against this ancient mixed star master from the ancient mixed star master's sword, Jian Wushuang has felt a lot of things, which makes him clearer and clearer on the road of the fusion of the 4 rules. Jian Wushuang, even I feel that I can fully integrate the 4 rules immediately. Suddenly, the master of the ancient celebrity who had utterly waved a large knife to attack, stopped the action in his hand. His body also stopped in midair. Huh! Jian Wushuang stunned. He felt that he would be able to break through immediately and be able to merge the 4 rules, but at a critical moment the ancient master star stopped. Master of ancient mixed stars, are you? Jian Wushuang frowned. The Lord of the Blood Sword, you are not weak. There is a rule of the most precious sword. I can completely resist my sword. I can't kill you at all. You and I continue to fight. It is also a waste of time. It is also possible to attract other strong players nearby. In that case, why do you and I fight again? The sword is bidirectional but weird. Of course, he knew the meaning of the ancient mixed star. For the ancient mixed star, since there is nothing to do with each other, there is no need to waste time to fight fiercely. But he is different. He just gained tremendously in the fierce battle with the ancient mixed star. He can even be sure that as long as the ancient mixed star is fighting with him for a while, he can immediately merge the 4 rules. But the ancient mixed star, the Lord, stopped. There is no way for Jian Wushuang. ICNT tell the Guju star that he is seeking a breakthrough with the help of the opponent's knife? Really said so, this ancient mixed star master Baking also left without a word. Lord of the Blood Sword, leave. The master of ancient mixed stars did not stay much and left directly. Jian Wushuang is helpless, but it is not forced, and just in the moment of fighting he has been very clear about the fusion of the 4 rules. Now he feels that he just needs to find a place to calm down and take a good look at it, and it is also possible to perfectly integrate the 4 rules. Although there are kills everywhere in this eternal dark prison, unless it is the most powerful and fearless top powerful people, they can find a place to live and carefully enlighten. As for most prisoners, they dare not stay in one place at all. It's too long, but I often roam in various dark areas, but I already have a clear fusion line in my mind. The time required for the fusion of these 4 rules is not long. It should not be interrupted in the middle. Jian Wushuang groaned. He is not afraid to be followed or killed, but he is afraid that he will be interrupted when the integration of rules is the most critical. However, this chance should be small. Immediately, Jian Wushuang found a relatively remote mountain in the nearby area, opened a temporary cave house among the mountains, and then started a hidden repair in the cave house. Inside the cave, Jian Wushuang sat sitting there. On him, the power of the rules of 4 different rules slowly rose. Unfortunately, this eternal dark prison environment is too harsh. The power of the rules contained in the surrounding void is extremely thin, and the power of these rules rising from the rise of the swordless twins does not resonate with the surrounding world. 4 rules? A fascination flashed in the sword's eyes. Let's go. Jian Wushuang began to follow the path already in his heart and began to merge. Time passed and a year passed in the blink of an eye. In this year, Jian Wushuang gradually merged the rules of the earth with the other 3 rules in accordance with the line in his mind. The process of this fusion is quite smooth. Until now, the fusion of these 4 rules is finally coming to an end. It's done. Jian Wushuang suddenly opened his eyes, and there was a flash of excitement in his eyes. In his body, time and space, reincarnation, destruction, and the earth, the 4 different rules have been perfectly integrated and complement each other. The power of the heaven and earth mastered by Jian Wushuang has been improved again. But soon, the sword had no double-sided color but became gloomy again. Oh. Some signs of a breakthrough. Do you feel nothing? Jian Wushuang couldn't help shaking his hands and his brows frowned deeply. In the beginning of the divine realm, and even in the entire vast universe, the master of the general rules, as long as the 4 rules are merged, can naturally break through and become the master. This is common sense. Many masters who are familiar with Jian Wushuang's surroundings, after integrating the 4 rules, directly broke through and became masters. But now he has also merged the 4 rules but in other aspects. His long awareness of the origin of Kendo has already surpassed most third-order masters. He is far more arrogant than the average master. It stands to reason that he fully fulfilled any requirement for a breakthrough to become dominant. However, he did not feel any signs that he would break through and become the master. At first, he thought it was because he was in an eternal dark prison, where the cultivation environment was so bad that he couldn't be the master. But immediately he shook his head and denied it. The harsh cultivation environment only makes me unable to make breakthroughs to a certain extent. It doesn't make me feel like I haven't made a breakthrough at all. I look like this now. Obviously, I can't make a breakthrough at all. To be precise, I didn't meet the requirements of breaking the at all. Jian Wushuang clenched his teeth. He couldn't break through. Even though the 4 rules have been merged and he has fully met the requirements for a breakthrough to become the master, he still cannot break through. In fact, he was already mentally prepared for this. After all, he is not a general practitioner, he is a special life, but also a special life of perfect level. In the vast universe, although special life is unique, it is also restricted by the universe. The universe is fair. Compared with ordinary practitioners, special life has many innate advantages, but it also creates special lives. To break through the bottleneck, it is more difficult than ordinary practitioners. Like Wuxian, he is uniquely endowed with the 9 rules to achieve ultimate domination, but Wuxian is extremely difficult to reach the peak. Like the undead wraith, although it is not a special life, it is also the most terrifying peak group in the universe. The undead wraith is incomparable to the sky, but the limit of the universe is also extremely huge. End of this chapter. Chapter 3875. The more the anti-sky ethnic group or life, the greater the limit of the universe. Jian Wushuang is a special level of perfect life. He is limited by the universe and there are few lives in the vast universe. This is the case when he first broke through the undead saint to reach the ruler. The ordinary undead saint, as long as he understands one rule, has reached the threshold of the master who breaks through the rules, but he waits until he understands the 2 rules at the same time and merges with each other before breaking through. Now he has fully understood and integrated the 4 rules, reaching the minimum requirement for ordinary practitioners to break through and become the master, but he is still far from the real breakthrough. When the undead saint broke through to reach the ruler of the rule, I guess that it would be more difficult than the others to break through from the rule's main breakthrough to the ruler, but I have not been able to be sure. But now it seems. Jian Wushuang secretly sighed. When the undead saint broke through and reached the ruler, he was well prepared. After all, there is his master Shen Yi leading the way. Shen Yi merged the two rules before breaking through the rule of the Lord. He is naturally the same. But from the master of the rule to become the master, no one gave him the way. After all, during the peak of his respect for Shen Yi, he was only the master of the rules. He also failed to reach the level of dominance, and Shen Yi did not integrate the four rules at that time. This gave Jian Wushuang's heart a bit of luck. Maybe he merged the four rules and he could also break through the master. The idea is good, but the reality is cruel. If I can directly break through and become the master, I can immediately re-refine Taichu Divine Realm. I can guarantee that Taichu Divine Realm is worry-free, but unfortunately, Jian Wushuang could only shake his head secretly. After the four-door rule, my strength has also been greatly improved, which is a big gain. With the fusion of the four rules, Jian Wushuang got more than just a willpower. The merging of the four-door rules alone is enough to enhance Jian Wushuang's sword power. It also has a higher level of use of the rules, which also improves his strength. There is also swordplay. My perception of the origin of Kendo universe is very high, but my rules of fusion are too few, which has affected my sword art more or less. Now the four rules are merged, and these sword arts I have created should all be okay. Get a certain level of improvement. Of course, the most important thing is to protect the earth. Jian Wushuang groaned. The guardian swordsmanship of the earth is to condense the swordsmanship of the earth. This major and important swordsmanship shows up mainly by two aspects. The first is his perception of the origin of the Kendo universe, and the second is the rules of the earth. Although he had previously understood the rules of the earth, he had not merged with the other three rules, which led to this sword domain. He could only join the rules of the earth. But now he can focus on the rules of the earth, and integrate the other three rules perfectly, making the power of the sword of the earth stronger. Let's start. Jian Wushuang took a deep breath, calmed down the restlessness in his heart, and continued to increase his sword power in this cave. The three strongest sword techniques he created: Hazy, Light, and Earth Guard. After the fusion of his four rules, the influence of Earth Guard must be the greatest, but the other two sword techniques can also be used to a great extent. Promotion. Next, Jian Wushuang stayed in this cave, and continued to spend time improving his sword skills. The process of swordsmanship improvement can be more complicated than the fusion of the previous four rules, and it will take longer. A flash, 3 years have passed. The ninth dark zone is thousands of miles away from the cave house where Jian Wushuang is hiding. The two figures suddenly condensed in the void. These two people are the same, the one who was attracted by the sword without hands, the magic sword of the 1,000 blades, and the blood rain demon he invited. The blood rain demon is the only woman among the 5 strongest in the ninth dark area. She is beautiful in appearance and graceful in shape, charming with every move. At this moment in front of the two of them, he was trembling, standing with a burly man. If Jian Wushuang was here, he would be able to recognize at a glance that this burly man had previously dealt with him, and he was affected by the opponent's swordsmanship, thus merging the 4 rules of the ancient mixed star master. Gu Zui, meet the Lord of the 1,000 Blades and Blood Rain Demon. Gu Chuan was very shocked at the moment. He is just a second-ranked peak master. Although his life-saving ability is good, he can only face the ordinary third-ranked master. But the 2 bladed masters and the Blood Rain Demon, these two casually take out one was enough to easily kill him, and of course he was trembling. Gu Juan, I ask you, have you ever seen the newly risen Lord of the Blood Sword? 1,000 Blades Lord looked down. The Lord of the Blood Sword? The ancient hybrid star master noticed the apparently anxious look of the Chen Blade Lord, and he already had some guesses in his heart. He also knew why the Chen Dao Lord was so anxious. 1,000 Blade Lord, I did meet the Lord of the Blood Sword. It was 4 years ago. I encountered him and had a fierce battle, but he was not weak. I could not help him, so I left. I haven't seen him again in 4 years, and it seems that in these 4 years I haven't heard that the Lord of the Blood Sword is still active in this area. The ancient mixed star said truthfully. Have you seen it 4 years ago? After learning that Jian Wushuang existed, he immediately invited the Blood Rain Demon to rush here, but it happened that Jian Wushuang was hiding in Dongfu. In the past 4 years, Jian Wushuang, who has been hiding in Dongfu www.novel.com has not come out. The Lord of the 1,000 Blades came to this area to look for many prisoners in the area. Most of them did not know Jian Wushuang. Even if they knew it, they had heard or encountered it 4 years ago. In other words, in these 4 years, Jian Wushuang has not appeared in this area. Is that the Lord of the Blood Sword already gone? The Lord of the 1,000 Blades mumbled. It's possible. Blood Rain Demon nodded slightly and said softly, "The Lord of the Blood Sword is just the Lord of the Rules and the Rule of Treasure, but he can survive in the eternal dark prison for so long. It must not be a fool. He knows now that I have made some noise in the 9th dark area. It is normal to leave immediately and go to another dark area." "No, I don't believe he just left like this. Keep looking, no matter what the price is. I must find him out." The face of the Master of the Thousand Blades is twisted together, and in his eyes is an unprecedented heat and crazy. Chapter 3876. The First is More. Inside the cave, Jian Wushuang spent another 3 years of meditation on improving the sword after merging the 4 rules, and now he has finally stopped. 3 years of careful study and improvement of swordsmanship. Up to now, of the 3 strongest swordsmen I have created, the 2 major swordsmanships, Hazy and Wave Light, have been greatly improved. Jian Wushuang smiled. Swordsmanship is hazy, and it is the power that rises. And the sword art Wave Light, whether it is sword art power or artistic conception, has been significantly improved in addition to this sword art toughness. However, in the past 3 years he has made the most progress in swordsmanship. The fusion of the 4 rules is mainly based on the rules of the earth, and it is perfectly integrated into the sword art. I will play the guardianship of the earth. The condensed land of the sword will be full of 51. The sword's eyes blinked with light. It should be noted that when he was outside the ancient Night Demon Palace, he played against the ancient Night Demon Lord, who spent a great price to show his strongest hole card, which came from a super secret skill of his division. Power almost reached the 3rd level of higher level. But at that time Jian Wushuang only condensed 43 major landsword areas and still resisted that whole card. But now the sword unparalleled can consolidate enough 51 major landsword areas, and because of the ancient integration of the 4 rules, the quality of the 51 major landsword areas is much stronger than the previous 43 heavy ones. Now he is definitely a lot stronger in body protection alone than before. This also gave him greater capital to roam in this eternal dark prison. I've been in this cave for 4 years and I should probably go out and do it. Jian Wushuang smiled even when walking out of Dongfu. After leaving the cave, Jian Wushuang immediately released the power of the soul, explored the surrounding environment, and then began to wander in this 9th dark area. Half a day later, Jian Wushuang met a prisoner. However, with a glance at the sword, Wushuang recognized the identity of the opponent. It is just a master of the 2nd level peak. It is estimated that the combat power is worse than that of the ancient Night Demon. Fight, but continue to look for stronger opponents. If 4 years ago his 4 rules had not yet been merged, he would be more willing to play against these 2nd level peak dominators, more or less lively. However, with the integration of his 4 rules, his overall strength has been greatly improved, and it is difficult to raise his interest just because of the dominance of the 2nd series. Now, if he wants to fight, he will fight with those who are strong, at least the 3rd ranking master. 4 days later, within the soul perception of Jian Wushuang, a master of the 3rd rank finally appeared. Ha! Jian Wushuang said nothing and ran directly towards the other side. Lingguang God. Jian Wushuang looked calmly at the master in front of him. "You are the Lord of the Blood Sword?" Lingguang Shinjun, dressed in a golden robe and handsome, looked at Jian Wushuang, and there was a hint of wonder in his eyes. In the eternal dark prison, although there was no way to conduct the order communication, which caused the news to be blocked, Jian Wushuang has been violent in this area. Naturally, some of the master prisoners in this area knew his existence. "I heard that Lingguang Shinjun is superb in your marksmanship. The strongest mysterious mist fog light is the capital of your 9th dark area. With this trick, you can rank among the many 3rd level masters in this 9th dark area, the first 50. Since I saw it today, I really want to learn from you." Jian Wushuang smiled. "As you wish." Lingguang Shinjun didn't have the slightest nonsense, he just spoke out. I saw a dark spear in the hand of Lingguang Shinjun. This dark spear was filled with a layer of teal light, exuding a very strong breath. With the rolling power of Lingguang Shinjun, the dark spear seemed like an instant. Xiaolong shot straight out. Call out, call out, call out, call out, call out. The void was pierced through by ruthless holes. In this momentary effort, Lingguang Shinjun stabbed 19 shots at the same time, 1 shot faster than the other and 1 shot faster than the other. Jian Wushuang is also a step forward, Wu Wei Shenzhen in hand, the vast Kendo universe origins permeate. Jian Wushuang did not immediately embark on the wave of light swordsmanship to engage with this Lingguang god, but chose to face it directly. Under his waving, Wu-crying sword also successively cut out a series of extremely powerful sword shadows. These sword shadows are all fused the four rules, and also a trace of the law of the universe. Clang, 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 clang. The dense metal impact sounded through the void, and at this moment Jian Wushuang and the Lingguang god had already confronted each other 19 times. During these 19 collisions, each time the sword was in a disadvantage. After the 19 collisions he was quite embarrassed. Seeing this, Lingguang Shenjun frowned. It is said that the main clan of the blood sword is a skill that entangles people trapped. Once the sword skill is out, even if the third-level master is caught in it, it is difficult to break free, and it cannot be defeated directly by force. But if you put aside the entangled swordsmanship, there is still a big gap between the blood sword master's combat power and the third level. But now, Lingguang Shenjun took a deep look at Jian Wushuang. He had exhausted all his efforts with the 19 shots just now. Although he completely suppressed Jian Wushuang, that's all. He can see that Jian Wushuang's power to display his sword skills has also reached the threshold of the third level. Lingguang's 19 shots couldn't take him down, so even if I use Ling Ying's 7 styles, I'm afraid he can block it from the front. It seems that he can only use the mist god light. Lingguang god's eyes were slightly condensed. For so many years, he has created a lot of tricks in the eternal dark prison. One of them is Lingguang's 19 shots. As for Ling Ying's 7, it is slightly stronger than the Lingguang 19 airsoft, but not much. And his real strongest is the misty light. Kill? Lingguang shouted with a fierce whisper, and his body suddenly gave out a huge beam of light. The light was extremely dazzling, like a huge sun. In this light, the black spear in Lingguang Shenjun's hand exploded. Suddenly, the heavens and the earth were silent, and a wave of extinction power suddenly condensed and erupted. This is the misty light? Jian Wushuang's eyes brightened, but his face was quite dignified. This Lingguang is qualified to be ranked in the top 50 of the 9th dark zone by this trick. We'll take a look. My strongest power is far worse than this misty aura. Jian Wushuang's power broke out to the extreme, and Wu Wei's Excalibur in his hand also gave a trace of hissing, followed by a hazy sword shadow straight out. Emperor Jiutian. Chapter 3877. The second is even more. The most powerful hazy sword technique created by Jian Wushuang. This move has also been greatly improved after Jian Wushuang's integration of the four rules. Now showing from the swordless hands, the flashing light in that hazy mist is also extremely eye-catching, and its power is not much weaker than the ordinary third-level master to do a full blow, and in the blink of an eye, the hazy swordsmanship and the misty pole Xingguang collided head-on. Peng. As if two stars collided together, both burst into a dazzling light. But it is clear that in the mighty, the swordless Wuxia's dim swordsmanship is much weaker. After a moment of confrontation with the fog aura of light, the mist of the sky is scattered, and an overwhelming power directly covers the sword. Then Jian Wu's double body trembled and retreated. After regaining his position in the void, Jian Wushuang felt the impact from his body, only to regain his head and looked at it in the past. It is indeed the King of Light Guang. Your strongest trick, Wushu Xingguang, is really powerful. Jian Wushuang is indeed amazing. Although he had encountered the stronger Gyurub King before, when he was running, he had to use Wave Lightsaber to entangle with him from the beginning. There was no intention of a frontal collision at all, so he could not really feel the arrogance of Goku's attack up close. But this time facing Lingguang, he chose to collide directly, but he was directly crushed by the opponent. Lingguang Shenjun's fog is extremely powerful, and his power is obviously stronger than his hazy swordsmanship. A master of the rules, the front collided with my Wuji Xingguang without any injuries. You are powerful enough. Lingguang Shenjun also looked at Jian Wushuang. In the beginning I heard about your strength from other populations, and said that your real combat power would be the second level peak dominates the level, and the swordplay that entangles people who are trapped is very special. But it doesn't seem to be the case now. Even if you don't use the entangled swordsmanship, its combat power will barely reach the third level. Haha, I just realized it recently. Jian Wushuang smiled. In this eternal dark prison where I can't see the sky at all, even if I have spent dozens of chaos eras, I can't improve my strength in the slightest. Being detained in the eternal dark prison, your talent is a waste. Lingguang Shenjun sighed. Stop it, Lord of the Blood Sword, leave. Lingguang Shenjun turned and left directly, and Jian Wushuang did not stop. Fighting with this King Lingguang, at least I have a new understanding of my current fighting power. Now the fighting power should also barely reach the threshold of the 3rd level. If you encounter those who are weaker, the 3rd level master, even without the sword wave, should be able to barely compete. Jianhu Shuang smiled. 4 years ago he encountered the 3rd level master, and there was no room for confrontation at all. He only had to engage in swordplay. But now he can at least compete with the general 3rd level master. Obviously, after the integration of the 4 rules, his strength has been greatly improved. Go on and on. Sword Wuxia continued to rush in the surrounding area immediately. 5 days later, the handsome Emperor Ling Guang, wearing a golden robe, was walking slowly in the void. Suddenly, 2 figures appeared at the very end of his line of sight, rushing towards him at an extremely horrifying speed. Not good. Ling Guang Shenjin's face changed greatly. Without hesitation, he broke out at his fastest speed, and fled frantically to the side. Ling Guang, Lord, stop, I will not embarrass you. A cold voice sounded suddenly. After Ling Guang found that the 2 figures behind him had stopped, he also chose to stop, but still kept a long distance from the other party. If he found something wrong, he could still flee immediately. Qindao Demon Lord, Blood Rain Demon, are you too? Ling Guang Shenjun was trembling inside. Regardless of whether it is the Chen Blade Demon Lord or the Blood Rain Demon, he can't compete. If both of them shot, they could kill him. Fortunately, the 2 in front of me didn't seem to have any intention to do anything to him. 2 adults, I don't know what I can do with Ling Guang? Ling Guang's stance was extremely low, and his expression was full of awe. Ling Guang, God, I ask you, have you ever met the Lord of the Blood Sword when you were scoping in this area? The voice of the Chen Blade Lord was low. The Lord of the Blood Sword? When Ling Guang's Lord moved, his heart knew immediately that the Lord of the 1,000 Blades had come to the Lord of the Blood Sword. It is very likely that the 1,000-edged Demon Lord followed the rule of the Blood Sword Master in the hands of the Supreme Sword. 1,000-edged Lord, the Blood Sword Master you said, I did meet, and just 5 days ago, I also played against him. Ling Guang Shenjun said. 5 days ago? 1,000-blade Demon Lord stunned but followed with great joy. Ling Guang, God, what are you talking about? Ling Guang doesn't dare to deceive you. Lord Ling Guang laughed. 5 days ago I did play against him, and when I met him I found that his strength was much better than before. Before that, he could only rely on the swordsmanship of entangled people and the general 3rd. The series dominates the opposition, but when he fought against me he did not use the entangled swordsmanship, but instead collided directly with me. As a result, I only suppressed him. Even if he finally performed my trick, Mist Aura, although he was crushed, he didn't really hurt him. 1,000 Blades Lord's eyes lit up completely. Ling Guang, God, 5 days ago, where did you fight him? Chen Blade Lord asked. It's in this direction behind me, about 30 million miles away. Ling Guang Shenjun said. Is it only 30 million miles? 1,000 Blade Demon stared. Ling Guang, God, thank you, you can leave. Ling Guang Shenjun was relieved and immediately swept towards the side of the void. After Ling Guang Shenjun left. Finally, there is news of the Lord of the Blood Sword. Thousands of Demon Lords screamed with surprise. I have lost track for 4 years in a row. I thought the Lord of the Blood Sword had really left the knife. It's a dark zone, but now it seems that he has NT left. He just realized it before. I do NT know where the retreat has been for 4 years. Now that his strength has improved a little, he is out. It's only 30 million miles away and there are only 5 days. He should still be roaming there. We should rush now and we should be able to find him. The Blood Rain Demon also said. The Lord of the Blades nodded. Now that he has determined his approximate location, there is no need to hide and hold it. Release the power of the soul directly, and find him at the fastest speed. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.